Well, here we are in the Western Development Museum because it deals with history. And I'm lucky to have with me today Karla Rasmussen, who's going to be telling us about the upcoming Heritage Fair that takes place here in the museum. And it's like the 5th year that this has been happening. And it's a wonderful thing. And elementary school students from all around are trying to impress us with their knowledge and their research, and they do that. So Karla, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Lyle.
Thanks for hosting us.
Yes, indeed.
So tell me, I just skimmed over that. Tell us about the Heritage Fair.
Well, they're wonderful things. They've been hosting Heritage Fairs in our province for over 20 years in various ways, shapes, and forms, and they've most recently kind of come to the format that they're in now. They're in grades 4 to 8,
okay.
And they are taking part in their school levels first, and this is something that they're really encouraged to explore on their own. So they're encouraged to look for any tie to Canadian history that intrigues them and research this. So they have to prepare a written component. There's a visual component where they do their backboard and a display. Sometimes there's a diorama or maybe even a video or music. And then there's also the oral presentation where they do a little speech about their presentation and their program.
Man, that's a lot of work.
It is. It really is. But it inspires children to get thinking historically, and it teaches them some research skills, and most importantly, I think it gets them excited about history and heritage.
Yeah, I know. Have you seen the results in the last few years?
I have indeed, yes, and some of them are truly remarkable. You know, there's all kinds of different ways people can approach this. I've seen students that have dressed up in historical period costumes, and they've really become their projects.
Really?
Yes, indeed. And they have a lot of interaction. Sometimes there's partners, and one will play one character, one will play another. Yeah. And I've seen some where they've done videos and talked about, I think there was one last year, it was Frank Slide, yeah. And it was a very incredible program that the young fellow had done there. So yeah.
I heard about the Frank Slide, and I flew over it once when I was coming from Cranbrook to Calgary, but I drove through it, and you go, look at the sides of rocks besides the road. And yeah, and they find out those stories about Turtle Mountain and the history of the natives' perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So, and you don't know what's coming yet because they're right now, as we tape this, the results are being tabulated, and next week you'll know who's coming. When is it here? It's
going to be on Thursday, April the 19th at the museum, and it's a full day for the students. They arrive at 9 a.m. and they're here throughout the day. We've got different things going on for them. So while they're broken up into groups, some of them are being judged, and while they're not being judged, they're going to workshops here in the museum. So we've got some special guests coming in. We've got the Saskatchewan Burrowing Owl Center, and they're going to bring a few birds and talk to the students about those. The Saskatchewan Science Center is coming, and the Saskatchewan Archaeological Society is coming too. And then we as the museum will also be hosting one of the workshops throughout the day. So
I would think so. Every time I come here, I just go, oh.
Yeah, it's wonderful, and we end up with about 61 students that come to the regional levels, and it's just wonderful to see them coming from all across southern Saskatchewan here in our area and sharing what they've learned with everybody else. I think the other thing that I really like about this is that they get to share with their peers and learn from each other too.
Yeah, and they go, this is a regional one, and so they've done their school one, the regional one, and after that, ones are chosen to go on to?
Provincials, yes. I think there's an average of about 55 to 60 students that go on to the provincial level from their regionals. Last year there were 5 regional heritage fairs in the province, and they're looking to grow that. So if anybody's out there in education, it's something to share with your peers and colleagues for sure. And it's just growing, and it's so great to see. I think last year in total there was over 3,300 students that took part across the province.
And then from there at provincials they can go on.
Yeah, there's a few different options for them from there. I believe there was a Young Citizens Award that some of the students went on to last year, and we had some students go on to Ontario, so it was wonderful.
That's really good, yeah. But you could host the Nationals here.
Well, that would be wonderful.
Because this facility is such a wonderful thing, and it has a great grasp of the transportation in our province. But all the WDMs in the province, they each have their own theme, and they all have a great connection, which is what we would hope, that they would learn a lot about their province as well as their country.
That's for sure, yes. And I mean, Heritage Saskatchewan oversees the Heritage Fair projects, and at the regional level, they're just sort of on the sidelines overseeing things. There's a great committee of volunteers that work to get everything organized here, and then Heritage Saskatchewan looks after the provincial level themselves. It's just a fantastic place, yeah.
Yeah. So as we sit here in the you maybe get some aviation stuff, but it's a wonderful thing to be doing. And I think history is something that we have to preserve. When I went to university, I took a lot of history stuff because I'm quite fascinated by it. And good to come, and when you looked at the dates, I go, oh, I'm not even going to be here when that's on. I'm going away that week, so I'm like, oh,
Next
man.
year, yeah.
Yeah, well, I've got to plan better to tell you. Yeah. So, what other things can we touch on that would be connected to that, but also here at the museum? Are there important events coming up for you?
Oh, we have always got something going on here at the museum. I'm a busy lady.
Yeah.
We've got a historical fiction workshop coming up at the museum here on April the 14th, and we've got a local author named David Richards coming in, and he's going to lead this. And
I have one of his books.
Do you have one of his books? That's
Signed.
fantastic. Oh, even better. So that's very exciting, and then you can sign up for that actually through the Festival of Words website. We've partnered with them, and it's going to be tremendous. You get a tour of the museum included with that, and hopefully that'll provide some inspiration. And then we're actually one of the hosts for Adamuskakawak, which is happening later in April.
And we're going to talk about that in another segment later on.
Yes, it's fantastic for sure.
Yeah, so the museum is, and this week is really busy because we're filming this during school break.
Yes.
So there's lots of families coming through and stuff.
There are, yes. We've got a few little films from the National Film Board on in our little theater here, and we've chosen some animated films, some that folks might remember from their own childhood, and then some newer ones. And we've also brought in some of our scavenger hunts, which are always popular amongst the youngsters and grown-ups too.
Well, yeah, for sure. Scavenger hunts are a hoot to try and track down. So, and there's so many items in here. Now we've only got 5 minutes left, Karla. So let's talk about how many do you think we're going to have this year? Do you have any idea how many people are going to come?
Oh, there's going to be plenty for sure. With the Heritage Fair, we have 60 students, and then you can add in their families coming in. The other thing I can mention too is it's open for the public during the day.
That's really important.
And it is included with your regular admission. It will be open for free from 5 p.m. to 5:30. There's a little narrow window of opportunity there after all the judging has concluded. People can come up from the public and they can walk through and see the projects.
But coming to the museum itself is not an expensive proposition, is it?
No, it's not. We always encourage people to buy a membership because it gets you in as many times as you want for free.
And all of the
special events that we have going on as well. And the other nice thing is if you're traveling in the province, it'll get you into the other locations too. So North Battleford, Yorkton, Saskatoon, they're all terrific museums.
Yeah. And I've been to two of them. I've driven past the one in North Battleford, but never stopped.
The best time to go there is the summertime because they have everything open. Yes, it is. And they've got harvest demonstrations towards the end of August. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so I just want to say, is there anything we've missed that we want to mention about this?
It's always a great time to visit the museum. And if you've got young people in your life, bring them down because we hope to inspire them. Maybe they're too young to take part in a heritage fair, but it might trigger something that they can take part in a little bit later on.
I want to discuss this. I'm going to research this. Yeah, I might give them some kind of, well, who built this airplane here? Why did we have a guy who built his own airplane in Saskatchewan?
Exactly, yes. And I mean, we've got other programs throughout the year that are specifically for school children with that same mindfulness that we want to inspire people. At the end of May, we always host Museum Learning Day, which is a very big hands-on event for us. We bring out a lot of our extension artifacts, which are ones that can be gently handled. So we bring out the treadle sewing machine. We've got some typewriters. We have some folks from the vintage aircraft restorers come out and they can talk about flight and how planes were constructed long ago, and the kids get a chance to really dive in and touch history.
And you can see the Vickers Vedette.
Yes, indeed. That's one of my favorites. And I know whenever I see visitors stopping there, I always stop with them and tell them a little bit more that's not on the signage there because our volunteers put in, I think it was over 23,000 hours of work on that plane over almost a decade. And it's one of two in Canada. It's quite a unique plane, and it's got quite a history too.
Yeah, and if you're the guy who takes pictures, you stand at the front of the plane, and you're about this much plane around you, the rest of you's out in the wind.
Yes, well, I understand that might have been part of the reason that it was discontinued. They were a little bit dangerous, I think, to be a passenger.
Fall out. Yeah.
No, the safety levels were a little different back then, yeah.
Well, Karla, thanks for being so enthusiastic about the event, and again, dates and times for people to come.
Yes, so the Heritage Fair is Thursday, April the 19th. It's open to the public, but they'll have to pay admission between 9 and 5. If they come between 5 and 5:30, they can get in for free to view those projects.
Well, great. Have a great time with it.
Oh, we will.
Yes, I know you will. And the kids will be really lucky to participate in this wonderful setting. So thanks to you for being here, and thanks to our guests for watching. And we'll see you again soon on Moose Jaw this week.